Welcome to the Dating Kinky Podcast, a cast about love, sex, romance, and kink. At 34, I left my husband for the second and final time. I realized that our relationship was toxic, for us both in different ways, and I felt defeated. My lifelong love was not. I failed, and I had to start a new life with new goals and find a new way. And I had no idea where to begin. I felt stuck. Just like I had through the past 4 years of my marriage as it died a painful, lingering death. And to add to that, I was not a popular girl. I'd always been a loner, a bit of an outsider. Oh, I could make small talk with people, and many people seemed to like me, but I rarely felt connected with anyone. And I'd just lost the one connection I thought I could rely on for the rest of my life. I could count on one hand the people I called friends at that point, and even then I didn't feel I could expect them to help me get through that. Hint, I could have, but I didn't know that. I had literally no idea how to begin a new life. I had a when, now, well, because circumstances demanded it. I had a where I was right then. I had a who. The only who I could count on for sure in my life was me. Most importantly, I had a why, because I wanted more, and damn it, I was going to get it, whatever work I had to put in. But what was my next step? It took me weeks to figure it out. I was in a haze of working and walking my dogs, but not much else. Going through the motions, trying to understand what had happened and what needed to happen next. And then, one day, I realized that I only had me. I needed to understand me. So I went to a local mental health clinic, and at my appointment, I told them I was disconnected and that I felt alone, and I wanted to know if something was wrong with me. There was, apparently. Well, not wrong, different. I was diagnosed ASPD, antisocial personality disorder. Nowadays, I might be more EDD, empathy deficit disorder, still not fully official, but I didn't have all the markers of criminal activity that ASPD usually has. I'm a psychopath, or something on that spectrum. And it made sense, and suddenly I could see what to do, because I took that first step. And looking back now, that first step made all the difference. It has led me to where I am today, to feeling connected and loved, and knowing that I can count on the people around me, and feeling like I matter to people, and knowing that I matter to myself. That first step told me what I need to know about me to help me figure out my next step, and the one after that, and the one after that through the past 14 years. Am I still ASPD or whatever? Yes. As far as I know, you don't recover from something like that. It's how a brain works. But do I feel like I used to? No, not at all. Because I've learned to work around my differences and make the most of them for me and for the people in my life. That first step, that's what I'm talking about today. Most things are figureoutable. Sometimes it just takes a shift in perspective. Things often seem impossible until they're done. Replace can't with how. When you have something in front of you and you're not sure where to start, it's so easy to get stuck. To let the overwhelm of realizing how much you don't know prevent you from moving forward. I've been there. Heck, I get there several times a week. I usually break out pretty quickly, though, because I've learned to look for the first step. Not the first right step, that can take too much time to figure out. Just the first step. Because even if it's wrong, I can usually do that first step, look it over, and figure out it's wrong while learning more about what's right, and move on to a new step faster than I could overcome all of my doubts and fears that the step I'm taking is the absolute right one. Because I'm a recovering perfectionistic procrastinator. Maybe you relate. Maybe you've always been really good at things and you hate feeling bad at things. So you avoid the things that you might be bad at, and the things you might not be as good at, and the things you are not sure you're going to be good at, and maybe also some of the things that don't make you feel like you're as good as you want to be. No? Just me? Probably. I'm okay with this. But I usually find that if I just take a step, any step, that I am better than I thought. Or if I'm crappy at it, being crappy is not nearly as bad as not getting it done. And I learn more so I'm less crappy the next time. And it's not nearly so bad as my brain made it out to be. Or if it is, at least it's done quicker, instead of hanging around torturing me for the next week and a half, or 3 months, or 2 years, depending on the project and the deadline. And I can feel good about getting it done and over with and move on to something else. In other words, just because I don't always know exactly what I'm doing, and I often don't know what I'm doing, doesn't mean I'm not capable of figuring it out or getting it done or failing and learning from whatever. Whether that means asking for help or working through it on my own, taking that first step is the key. And like in a run, taking that first step is always the hardest for me. Just taking the step to make it happen. But when I do, there we are. The impossible thing is done. Complete. Finito. It was figureoutable after all. Most of the time, anyway. What are your thoughts? Have you worked on something lately that felt nail-bitingly difficult at first? Did you put it off for hours or days or weeks first? How did you break it down and figure it out? What was your first step? Thank you for joining me today. If you loved this episode, please share it with others who would enjoy it. And please do join me on our new apps available on the Google Play and Apple App Stores. Dating Kinky. It's built by Kinksters, for Kinksters, poly, queer, trans folk, and anyone not quite vanilla, and it's free. Find me on FetLife as Nookie Notes, and on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, and Medium as Dating Kinky. We are on Instagram as Dating Kinky Official, all one word. Have a kinky day, and I'll catch you next episode.